Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land, where you come for your top stories every Monday to Thursday. So before we head off into the weekend, let's take a look at the latest news. And it's day 3 of Operation Shield and Arrow, the operation or offensive operation that the IDF launched in the early hours of Tuesday morning in response to the over 104 rockets fired at Israel by Palestinian Islamic Jihad terrorists in the Gaza Strip just 2 weeks ago. Now, when the operation started, the IDF managed to eliminate 3 top commanders, and earlier this morning they eliminated top commander Ali Khali. Just a short while ago, Palestinian Islamic Jihad threatened their response for that is coming. So let's take a look at what we've missed in the last 24 hours since we last spoke. Barrages of rocket fire continued into Israel last night, several into Tel Aviv as well. In fact, I was actually broadcasting to a station in the United States and watching the interceptions as they were happening. Now, after a short lull during the night, rocket fire and mortar fire in the south continued and has been sporadic throughout the day. There were some reports of an initial ceasefire, but the Prime Minister addressing the nation last night said that Israel is in the middle of a very important military operation, which kind of put the kibosh on any talks of ceasefires. Meanwhile, a little earlier today, the US ambassador to Israel, Tom Nardis, tweeted out that he condemns the indiscriminate rocket fire and that he is working to try and broker a ceasefire, something that is shared by Egypt and apparently Qatar as well. Yuli Edelstein, a Likud member of Knesset, addressing the media, said that Palestinian Islamic Jihad have demands that Israel is not prepared to meet. And a short while ago, Defense Minister Yoav Gallant notified the IDF that we will be expanding operations in the Gaza Strip and that we must be prepared for rockets in response. The IDF have hit significant targets, including a staging area that Palestinian Islamic Jihad use to launch anti-tank missiles. Footage has also been circulating, compliments of the IDF that shows pilots aborting a strike on a target because there were children in the vicinity. Now, here it is important to note that when it comes to these kind of intensive operations, we do have the military advocate general that actually works with our Supreme Court to ensure that every payload that is dispatched by Israel's Air Force meets with international law. This is why there has been an outcry by many in the military about the proposed override clause in these judicial reforms. Meanwhile, houses in Sderot last night took some direct hits. There was also significant damage done to a chicken coop in the Eshkol region. There was some damage to cars and infrastructure in Ashkelon, and a park in Beersheba was also hit. While there are no reports of injuries, Magen David Adom have reported treating at least 32 people in the last couple of days. Some for high anxiety, having to run to shelters, and some for light injuries. Meanwhile, the Likud ministers reported receiving messages a little while ago saying no ceasefire had been reached, and we brace for another night of possible rocket attacks. Now we go to the United Nations, who always have something to say in this regard, and Israel's ambassador to the UN, Gilad Erdan, speaking to Army Radio earlier today, said that yesterday's meeting of the UN Security Council, which they expected to condemn Israel's operation in Gaza, ended without a statement. He said Israel managed to stop any condemnations of Operation Shield and Arrow. He also noted that the United States blocked China from condemning Israel. Meanwhile, it has also been reported that the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and ambassadors from the UN are currently in Israel. Guterres is on record condemning the strikes in Gaza, which, although eliminated top Palestinian Islamic Jihad commanders, also sadly killed some civilians, including children, something that Prime Minister Netanyahu expressed great regret over. I'm still waiting for his condemnation of the indiscriminate rocket fire that is flying into Israel over the last couple of days. Over 500 rockets have been fired, many of them landing in the sea, at least 65 of them landing inside the Gaza Strip. And just a note, how many children, how many civilians can be killed or seriously injured by rockets short falling. Now to the United States, and US Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy blocked Rashida Tlaib. She is a congresswoman who is anti-Israel. She was going to hold a Nakba Day commemoration in Congress. He blocked that, saying that this is not how you treat your strongest allies, and that he would be having a day to celebrate the allyship and also Israel's 75th year of independence. But don't worry, Bernie Sanders was on hand to help out Tlaib, and they held their Nakba Day commemoration. Of particular insult was Tlaib's comments that no Palestinian child should have to endure things falling from the sky. Well, we concur, Ms. Tlaib. No Palestinian child should have to deal with things falling from the sky, either rockets that fall short of the Israeli border. And no Israeli child deserves to live with things falling from the sky. And finally, we go off to Marrakesh, where women from Morocco and Israel have held a joint conference to celebrate cooperation and women in innovation. And that is the perfect way to end today's edition of the Israel Brief. As you can no doubt tell, done a lot of speaking and a lot of reporting over the last couple of days. But before I go, I want to wish you all a safe and a healthy weekend. We wish Noah Kirel, who will be at the Eurovision finals on Saturday night, everything of the best, and bring Eurovision back home to Israel, Noah, unicorn. And Shabbat Shalom to everybody who will be marking Shabbat this weekend. We hope it's a quiet one for all of Israel's citizens. Don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook community is at Lottel's site. You guys know what to do. Share our content, like us, and follow us. Our YouTube channel is at the Israel Brief. Share the news from Israel that the mainstream media is not bringing to your TVs. And we're on Twitter at Lay of the Land 5. I'm Rolene Marks. Shabbat Shalom. Am Yisrael Chai, and I'll see you again on Monday.